So, all right, we've talked about whether or not we like the movie or not.
People can watch that whole discussion
that exists
without
somewhere
spoiling
else.
anything, but that's for the noobs. This is for the hardcore
This
fans.
is where we want to talk some spoilers.
Yeah.
Right now, what was your favorite moment of the movie, where we can talk freely about what happened?
I guess this isn't all that spoilery, but the first moment that comes to mind that I absolutely loved was the scene between Iron Man and Hulk. He's gone crazy, and Iron Man has his Hulkbuster armor. It has to be pronounced that way, I think, is the correct pronunciation. And everything about that was really cool. The way that it has like a satellite, and he's able to like bring in new parts, which is such a thing. I don't think they've ever done that in the comics that I can recall. Maybe they haven't. I just haven't read that issue. But just the fact that you're fighting the Hulk, he's going to destroy your armor, so you have to have backup pieces so that his arm gets shredded, and then the new arm flies on. I was just like, oh, that's so cool, that's so amazing. And then the part that was my absolute favorite was he picks him up, and we hear Robert Downey Jr. talking and whatever. He's like, how quickly can I buy this building, this abandoned building that he finds? And he uses his his sensors to see, okay, it's totally abandoned, there's nobody inside it, I can destroy this building. And then he's like, he's Tony Stark, he's a billionaire, he can buy a building in 3 seconds. He's like, how quickly can I buy this? And then he throws him through the entire building. I thought that was fantastic.
I like that fight. My favorite part of that fight is when a new arm comes down, and it's this jackhammer fist, and he gets Hulk, he's holding Hulk on the ground by his neck, and punches him in the face about 1,000 times with this jackhammer fist. And then Hulk just gets up, spits out a tooth, and like cracks his neck, and then punches Iron Man into
top notch.
Right, into
A+.
There was that is really sort of a showstopper scene. That whole thing, and he takes an elevator off the cables and is swinging the elevator by the cables, and they're hitting each other with it. There's a lot there.
The other thing that's cool in that scene, though, is that both of those parts involve like protecting or making sure innocent people don't get hurt, which is kind of a theme throughout the movie. It's like the Avengers aren't just beating people up and throwing people into buildings,
which they are, but
they do so with a certain amount of concern and attention paid to what's going on around them. Like Iron Man doesn't just throw Hulk into a building; he throws him into the building that's abandoned, so that he doesn't have to save anyone. And then when the fight spills out into another building in that elevator, he actually catches that elevator full of people as it falls, lets the people off, and then he uses it as a weapon. That's nice.
It is.
That's what a superhero is supposed to do.
Right.
They're not just supposed to punch each other. They're supposed to be saving people's lives.
It's very much devoted to, like you said, making sure these heroes are being heroes and not just like Superman and Zod punching each other until
That's
every
sort of
single
what I was
building collapses.
alluding to without mentioning it by name, but
let's go there. Yeah.
It seems like it's an answer to that because those scenes are pretty similar in terms of scenes in cities with especially the Iron Man and Hulk scene. I mean, those are like super powerful beings punching each other through a city just like Zod and Superman. And in that movie, Superman didn't give an F about anybody.
No.
He was just, he cared until the very end when he was like, oh no, these 3 people might die because of this, the heat beam or whatever. After literally thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people maybe have died. Suddenly he's like, oh wait.
These guys.
These 3 people. Whereas in the Avengers, it seems, I felt it must have been a deliberate choice on Joss Whedon's part to address that and do something very deliberately different.
Was there anything in this movie that really surprised you while you were watching it? You were like, either dramatically or just sort of in some of the action things they did?
The thing that surprised me and maybe confused me, and this is something I didn't necessarily like, was I only saw Iron Man 3 one time.
Yeah.
And this is a spoiler now for Iron Man 3. But the end of Iron Man 3, he like gets rid of his iron
arc reactor.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not Iron Man anymore. And in the beginning of this movie, he's Iron Man again.
He's always Iron Man. He's always
and they don't. What happened? Why is he Iron Man again, Mike?
Do you want them to spend 5 minutes of him going like why he's bad? They need.
I don't need 5 minutes. I need one line. I told you I'm retired. I'm making an exception. I don't know. I'm not a writer. I'm not Joss Whedon.
Right.
That's Joss Whedon's job.
To me, it's a continuation. The reason he's back is because they have to finish what they started in the first movie. So that's why everyone is back, because the scepter, Loki's scepter, has fallen into the wrong hands. They've got to go get it back. And while they're there, Scarlet Witch does her little thing, and that's why he has to come back for the rest of it, because now he's he's plagued by these visions that she shows him where everyone is dead. He has killed everybody else.
I'll give you a no prize for working around that explanation, but I still wouldn't have minded a little bit. And then at the very end of the movie, he's like,
he retires.
I'm out.
Yeah,
and it's like, but wait, you haven't mentioned anything about this. You were just so worried about the whole world coming to an end. You would have done anything to protect it. You want to put a suit of armor around the world, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, he's like, nah, all right,
well, I think maybe he realized that, you know.
Oh, wait, I forgot. I was retired. But I have to say, all that stuff I thought was kind of confusing and not a great setup for. They tease a lot of fighting between Captain America and Iron Man, I think, to set up Captain America 3, which is the Civil War, right? This big fight between them. But the end, I felt like kind of took us, like, I don't really understand how that ending is going to fit into that. I felt like there was a better way to.
Maybe don't worry about that. Marvel would say to you, we got this. There's enough Iron Man Cap fight going on in this movie that I think we'll sort of go, oh, that's going to play out throughout the rest of this. So they sort of come to a, you know.
That was my big surprise. Did you have something in mind? Did you have a surprise that really shocked you?
Something I was really surprised about was Hawkeye, who was much maligned in the first one. He didn't have a lot to do. He was basically a zombie for half the movie.
Sure.
He is one of the main characters, if not the main through line throughout this entire story.
Yeah.
He's got a very surprising sort of explanation for where he's been. Why hasn't Hawkeye shown up in Winter Soldier? Why hasn't he? He's been in none of these movies.
Right.
And they explain that in a very satisfying way to both the character and towards what it means for his future and all these things. He's got what I think is the best line in the movie. He's given Scarlet Witch a little pep talk at the end, and he just kind of, there's a moment of humanity, and with all this insanity going on, he even references the first movie.
He does, in a really cool way.
Which, when Scarlet Witch tries to get into his head, and he knocks her out cold, and he's like, I've spent enough time being mind controlled.
Well, I think what you're saying about him is absolutely right, in that I think a lot of people in the audience who don't know the Hawkeye character all that well, who maybe haven't read comic books, are like, why is this guy with a bow and arrow
on the Avengers
in this movie at all, when you have Captain America, you have Thor, he's a literal god, you have the Incredible Hulk, who's the strongest creature on Earth, you have Iron Man, who can do anything with robots and all this. Like, why do we need a guy with a bow and arrow? And I think what's awesome about this movie is that the movie answers that question. And it has a lot to do with all that stuff about the Avengers saving people and, like, beliefs. It's not just about what you can physically do, it's about what you believe and what you're willing to do for goodness and for right and for a cause. And I think that's what's really cool.
A lot of fans thought they might go in the other direction, and there was a lot of speculation that they might just go, well, we're just going to kill off Hawkeye. He is the expendable. And they went in the complete other direction, and they said, we're not going to kill off Hawkeye. He is sort of the glue holding some of this team together.
He's the straw that stirs the drink.
Exactly, and his presence in this movie is extremely important. And I don't know that we probably won't see him again until Avengers 3 and Part 1 and 2.
Right.
And they sort of explain why that's going to be, and it all makes sense. And you go, okay, this all works for me. This is all, and Hawkeye was great. That to me was one of the biggest surprises, that you come out of that going, I know I'm going to love Iron Man and Cap and Thor and all these other characters, but I came out loving Hawkeye. I mean, Hawkeye was great. He's going to win a lot of people over in this movie.
Absolutely. Can I complain more about Thanos?
Oh boy, with the complaining. Yes.
The Thanos tease at the end of this movie.
You see it coming.
Yeah.
You see it coming a mile away.
C-. It's like 5 seconds. Yeah. It is really obvious. And what he's saying, what does he say? He's like, fine, I'm going to do this myself. Makes no sense.
I don't even get that. Yeah.
In the context of the movie. Does that mean Ultron was working for Thanos?
Who was supposed to be getting that stone for him? I don't understand what any of that means. That would have
made more sense. The tease at the end of this movie would have made so much more sense as the tease at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly.
Where he actually had a guy working for him.
Maybe they could have switched and Howard the Duck could have been at the end of this movie. And it
would have made a lot more sense.
No, that would have made no sense, but it wouldn't have made any more sense or less sense than this.
That was really my big beef, was, this Thanos thing, which they're dragging out. If you're going to drag it out, when he shows up, it better be important,
impactful,
and awesome.
Right.
And in this movie, and the first time he showed up in the Avengers was awesome.
All you get out of this is the gauntlet. But anyway, in the first Thor, the glove is in
something that
Odin's
needs to be
vault.
addressed.
How does he
in the
get
first
that?
Thor movie, the glove with all the gems is sitting in that vault. I think they're going to have to figure out a way to retcon that.
Maybe they weren't real. Maybe they were just like little rhinestone gems, like they just cubic zirconia.
Cubic zirconium, infinity
gems,
cubic zirconium.
Just to give it some color. Otherwise, it's sitting there empty.
Odin wanted it to look like, because he's a prideful god, he wanted it to look like he had the Infinity Gauntlet, but it was a replica.
Just red.
He bought it on eBay, and he didn't realize, and he put it in the throne. Maybe that's the explanation. It's like, I thought it was real. I didn't know.
My bad.
All right. What's like the #1 thing you're most looking forward to in all that they've set up, they tease in this movie?
I think kind of the new lineup. You get to the end of the movie, everybody sort of splinters off.
Yeah.
Hulk's off God knows where.
Iron Man's retired again.
Right. Thor goes back home, and Cap is the boss, and
Yeah.
he has to build a new team. So he gathers some of his buddies. Hawkeye is back home, so he has to get all these new people together, and he's got Vision, and he's got Scarlet Witch, and he gets this, and it's very much a roll call moment. They go through
so
everybody,
kinky.
and everybody gets their moment where they're
Yeah.
just kind of like Falcon, and he's there, and you know, so it's a really great moment. So it's going to be really fun to see how you would assume Avengers Infinity War Part 1 is going to very much focus on.
You think those characters might show up briefly in Captain America 3?
Well, we know obviously Falcon is
sure.
going to be there. I don't think you'll see Vision. That would be very odd to me if during the middle of Civil War, Vision shows up with his flowing CGI cape.
What's up, guys?
I think it fits in this world, in the sort of political espionage thriller world of Captain America. I don't know that works very well. What are you looking forward to as the Marvel Cinematic Universe continues on?
More Thanos teases?
Definitely more Thanos.
Lots more. I need at least 8 more appearances before he does anything.
You're probably going to get it. So.
Glove doesn't fit yet. Wait, I've got to bring it to my glover. Can we get a little adjustment on my glove? I'm not ready yet. It doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right. Nope, I don't like it. Nope.
Is there such a thing as a Glover? Besides Danny
Glover?
Okay.
He'll bring it to Danny Glover, who's like, I'm getting too old for this stuff, Thanos. I'm not fixing your glove anymore. And then he's got the glove. But yeah, I know I'm pretty satisfied right now. This movie really gave me a lot. It's hard to be like, there's not enough here.
What kind of comic book fan are you that you see a movie and you go, well, I'm satisfied. I don't need to know anything.
What kind of comic book fan are you that you want more?
This is what comic
You're so
book fans
greedy.
do. Everybody's
Enjoy
looking
what you have.
No, I can't.
What more do you want?
I want Avengers 3 and Avengers 4.
Well, it's gonna happen.
Well, when
What am I waiting
Avengers
for?
Infinity War Part 2 comes around and it's done, we can sit here and have this conversation and go, okay, I'm not looking forward to anything else. This is
I don't believe it. I'll be saying that, and you'll be like, "Where's
When are they
Avengers
going to
5?
reboot Iron Man?
Who are they
going to get to play the new Iron Man?
When are they going to go to Planet Hulk? What's going to happen there? When are we going to get a Hawkeye movie? Where's Hawkeye?
There will never be a Hawkeye movie. This was the Hawkeye. This is as close
was
as we're
the
ever
Hawkeye.
getting to a Hawkeye movie. They should just call this Hawkeye.
Hawkeye
Age of
and the
Ultron.
Avengers?
Avengers Age of Hawkeye. 2, please.